I knew something was wrong the moment he avoided looking me in the eyes. Not anger. Not even disrespect, at least not openly. Just that quiet, uncomfortable hesitation. The kind that tells you a line has already been drawn, and you weren't invited to cross it. It was supposed to be a simple family trip. Just a few days by the lake, fresh air, long evenings, the kind of slow, peaceful time that families are meant to share. My daughter had been talking about it for weeks, her voice lighter than I'd heard in a long time. "Dad, you'll love it," she said over the phone. "It's quiet, beautiful, you need this." And maybe I did. Life had grown. Smaller lately. Quieter. The kind of quiet that settles in after years of noise, work, responsibilities, raising a child on your own. You don't notice it at first, but one day you look around and realize there's no one left in the house but you. So when she invited me, I didn't hesitate. I packed carefully. Not too much. Just enough. A few shirts, an old sweater in case the evenings turned cold, and a small box I had been meaning to give her. Something personal. Something I had kept for years. I even polished my shoes. I don't know why. Maybe I just wanted to feel presentable, important. The drive was longer than I expected, but peaceful. Open roads, fading sunlight, the kind of silence that gives your thoughts room to wander. I thought about her as a child, the way she used to run toward me after school, her backpack bouncing behind her, the way she'd sit beside me at dinner, talking endlessly about her day. Even after she grew older, even after life got busy, we stayed close. Or at least, I believed we did. When I finally arrived, the place looked exactly like she had described. A large lakeside house surrounded by tall trees, their leaves whispering softly in the wind. The water stretched out endlessly, reflecting the golden light of the setting sun. It was beautiful, peaceful, perfect. For a moment, I just stood there, taking it all in. This was what she wanted to share with me, and that thought alone made the long drive worth it. I saw her first, standing near the porch, talking to someone. Her hair caught the light the same way it used to when she was younger. For a second, I saw that little girl again. "Dad!" Her voice broke through everything, warm and familiar. She walked quickly toward me, wrapping her arms around me without hesitation. And just like that, everything felt right again. "I'm so glad you came," she said softly. "Wouldn't miss it," I replied. And I meant that. Then I noticed him, standing a few steps behind her. My son-in-law, Daniel. Daniel and I had never really connected. There was nothing openly wrong. No arguments, no harsh words. Just a distance that never seemed to close. He was polite. Always polite, but it was the kind of politeness that feels measured, careful. Like every word is chosen not to reveal too much. "Good to see you," he said, extending his hand. I shook it. Firm, steady. "You too." His grip was strong but brief. His smile, brief too, and then it was gone. The rest of the family was already there, laughter echoing from inside the house, the sound of dishes, soft music playing somewhere in the background. Everything looked normal, but something felt off. I couldn't explain it at first. Just small things, the way Daniel kept glancing at his phone, the way my daughter's smile faded slightly whenever he spoke quietly to her, the way conversations seemed to pause just for a second whenever I stepped closer. Nothing obvious, nothing you could point to, but enough to make you feel out of place. Dinner was warm, lively. Stories were shared. Glasses clinked. Laughter filled the room. I tried to relax. Tried to ignore the feeling sitting quietly in the back of my mind. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe it was just time. Families change. People grow. Dynamics shift. You don't always notice when it happens. After dinner, I stepped outside for some air. The lake was darker now, the surface calm under the night sky. A soft breeze moved through the trees, carrying that quiet, familiar stillness. I took a deep breath. This was what I needed. Peace. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Daniel's voice came from behind me. I turned slightly. "It is." He stepped beside me, hands in his pockets, eyes fixed on the water. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he exhaled slowly. "There's something we need to talk about." His tone was different now. No politeness. No small talk. Just direct. I felt it again. That quiet shift. That invisible line. "All right," I said. He nodded as if confirming something to himself. And then finally he turned to look at me. "You're not going." For a second I didn't understand. Not going where? His expression didn't change. The trip, tomorrow, the boat, the cabin? All of it. I frowned slightly. I thought that was the plan. It was, he said, then paused. And that pause, that small, deliberate silence, said more than his words ever could. "Why?" I asked quietly. He hesitated, just for a moment, but it was enough. And then he said it, flat, clear, unapologetic. "Because you're a—" He didn't finish the sentence. Not yet. But he didn't need to. I could already feel it. Whatever word was about to come next was going to change everything. Behind us, I could hear my daughter's laughter drifting through the open door. Warm, carefree, unaware. And standing there beside the dark, silent lake, I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit since the moment I arrived. This wasn't just a family trip. This was something else. Something planned. Something decided. Without me, I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just waited, because whatever he was about to say next was going to tell me exactly who I was in their lives now. And for the first time, I wasn't sure I wanted to hear it, because He stopped. Just for a second, but in that second I felt everything shift. The air, the silence, even the sound of the water behind us seemed to fade, like the world itself was waiting for him to finish that sentence. I looked at him, steady. "Go on," I said quietly. He held my gaze this time. No hesitation now. No politeness. No distance. Just truth. A burden. The word didn't hit all at once. It settled. Slowly, like something heavy being placed on your chest. Not enough to crush you immediately, but enough to make every breath feel different. I didn't react. Not the way he expected. No anger, no raised voice. Just stillness. "A burden?" I repeated almost thoughtfully. He nodded once, as if relieved to finally say it out loud. "It's not personal," he added quickly. "It's just reality. Reality. That word again. People use it when they want to make something sound unavoidable, as if it couldn't have been any other way." I glanced back toward the house. Through the open door, I could see my daughter moving around the kitchen, laughing with the others. She looked happy, peaceful. The kind of peace you protect, even if it costs someone else theirs. "Does she know?" I asked. Daniel followed my gaze. "Yes." The answer came too easily. "Too clean. And she agrees with this?" My voice stayed calm, but something deeper had started to settle underneath it. Another pause. Longer this time. "She understands," he said carefully. I almost smiled at that. Understands, not agrees, not wants, just understands. I turned back to him. "You planned this," I said. It wasn't a question. He didn't deny it. "We didn't want a scene," he replied. "That's why we waited until you arrived." It was easier this way. Easier. For who? I let out a slow breath, nodding faintly. "I see." And strangely, I did, more than he realized. All those small moments from earlier began to line up. The glances, the quiet conversations, the way my daughter held on to her smile just a little too tightly. They hadn't been unsure. They had been prepared. "So what happens now?" I asked. His posture straightened slightly, like he had been waiting for this part. "There's a hotel about 20 minutes from here. I've already booked a room for you." Of course he had. "Everything arranged. Everything neat. You can stay there tonight," he continued. "In the morning, I'll have someone drive you back." "Someone? Not him. And the rest of you?" I asked. "We leave early," he said. "It's a long drive to the cabin." I nodded again, always nodding, as if understanding made it easier. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence between us wasn't tense anymore. It was settled. "Decided." "I raised her, you know." The words came out before I could stop them. Not defensive, not bitter. Just factual. Daniel didn't respond. "I was there for everything," I continued quietly. "Every school day, every fever, every moment she needed someone." I wasn't looking at him anymore. I was looking at the water. "I know," he said after a moment. And for the first time, there was something in his voice that sounded almost like discomfort. "But things change," he added. I let that sit for a second. Then I nodded slowly. "Yes," I said. "They do." Inside the house, the laughter grew louder again. "Someone called my daughter's name," she answered, her voice still light, still untouched by this moment. "Are you going to tell her?" I asked. Daniel shook his head. "There's no need. It'll only make things harder. Harder. For her." I turned to him fully now. "And for me?" He didn't answer. That was answer enough. I reached into my coat pocket slowly. Daniel's eyes followed the movement just briefly. Curious, cautious, I pulled out the small box I had brought with me. Simple, worn at the edges. I had carried it carefully the entire way here. "I was going to give this to her tonight," I said. He didn't speak. "It belonged to her mother," I added quietly. "She always said she'd pass it down one day." My fingers tightened slightly around it. Not out of anger, but memory. I looked back at the house, at the life continuing inside without me, and for a moment, just a moment, I considered walking back in, handing it to her myself, saying something, anything. But then I looked at Daniel, at the certainty in his expression, at the plan already set in motion, and I understood something clearly. This wasn't a moment I had been excluded from. This was a life I had been gently removed from, piece by piece, until there was nothing left to hold on to. So instead, I held the box out toward him. "Give it to her," I said. He hesitated, not because he didn't want to take it, but because for the first time, he didn't look completely certain anymore. "She should have it," I continued. Slowly, he reached out and took the box, carefully, as if it carried more than just weight. "I will," he said. I nodded once, then stepped back. "That's everything, then," I said quietly. He opened his mouth slightly, like he might say something more, something final, something that would make this feel justified, but he didn't. And that silence, that empty space where something meaningful should have been, told me more than any words could. I turned away from him, from the lake, from the house. Each step felt heavier than the last, not because I didn't know where I was going, but because I finally understood. I wasn't coming back. As I reached the edge of the driveway, I stopped. Just for a moment. Behind me, I could hear the door open. My daughter's voice, faint, confused. "Dad?" I closed my eyes. Just for a second, and in that second, I realized something that made my chest tighten in a way I hadn't felt before. She didn't know. Not really. Not the full truth. Which meant, what happened next, what she chose to believe, was about to decide everything. I didn't turn around, but I didn't walk away either, because for the first time that night, the choice was no longer theirs.